They told us to mark our calendars. They said the Bible guaranteed it. Jesus Christ was coming back on the 21st of May to judge the world and rapture his followers. Well, the world is still here. Nobody disappeared. No rapture. No appearance of Jesus. No big deal. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. After all, if you'd done your homework, you would have found out that Harold Camping previously claimed September 6, 1994 was going to see the return of Jesus Christ. But Christ didn't show up then either. Then Camping claimed he'd made a mathematical error and that the correct day would actually be May 21st, 2011. Well, it looks like he was wrong again. No doubt these wackos will come up with another date in the future. Maybe the third time will be the charm. But now there's a lot of vehicles that will need a new paint job, and a lot of people that are going to have a lot of explaining to do for getting everyone worked up over absolutely nothing. But what the majority of people totally missed is that America's Judgment Day has already happened, many, many years ago. When the value was taken out of our money, almost 50 years ago, Americans stood by and did nothing. Shortly afterwards, the loving U.S. government lied to the nation about the events in the Gulf of Tonkin in order to kick off the Vietnam War, which killed almost 60,000 Americans. And for what? America ended up losing the war. Even though the frauds and lies behind Watergate, Iran-Contra, and Desert Storm were widely exposed, the American people passively looked on while Nixon, Reagan, Oliver North, George H.W. Bush, and countless others walked away from these heinous crimes with impunity. Yet these same American people passively watched as their kids and grandkids were arrested, jailed, and their lives were ruined for smoking a joint. The American people even willingly gave up some of their civil rights to help their loving government crack down on the dangerous pot smokers and cheered the new war on drugs back in the 1980s.
Just say no!
The turn of the millennium was marked with a stolen election and a false flag attack on our own people by the U.S. government. Instead of demanding the truth, the people hung up their American flags and pledged allegiance to their crooked rulers. Then the dumbed-down and complacent Americans stood passively by as the USA Patriot Act was passed into law in a so-called response to the staged 9/11 events. Even though the Patriot Act eviscerated the civil rights and liberties these same Americans' fathers and grandfathers fought and died to protect, the American people had new priorities, like the American Idol program and celebrity news, which had become much more important to them than their civil rights. The U.S. government went on to take the nation to war with Iraq, which had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11.
You can't distinguish between Al-Qaeda and Saddam when you talk about the war on terror. We've learned that Iraq has trained Al-Qaeda members in bomb making, and poisons, and deadly gases. He's a threat because he is dealing with Al-Qaeda. We know that Iraq and Al-Qaeda have had high-level contacts that go back a decade.
We don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud.
We do have solid evidence of the presence in Iraq of Al-Qaeda members, including some that have been in Baghdad.
Who is continuing to develop weapons of mass destruction, has not disarmed.
We know where they are. They're in the area around Tikrit and Baghdad and east, west, south, and north.
The government repeatedly and knowingly lied about weapons of mass destruction and Iraqi ties to Al-Qaeda, and over 1 million human beings have died as a result of these lies.
It could have a nuclear weapon in less than a year.
There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it. There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it. There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it. There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it.
The American people have done nothing, and the occupation of Iraq continues to this day. As the American economy collapsed, and tens of millions of Americans lost their jobs to China and India, and millions more lost their homes, the American sheeple stood by once again as their loving government gave trillions of their tax dollars to Wall Street, mega corporations, and foreign banks and institutions in the name of bailouts. These same Americans pay almost half their income in taxes, while giant companies like General Electric, Pfizer, and ExxonMobil bring in tens of billions each year and don't pay a dime in taxes. With over 50 million abortions performed in America in the past 4 decades, you have to ask yourself, what God would judge America favorably? So you see, America has already had its judgment day, and it was found guilty as charged.